Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. It's such an honor for me to be part of this event and sharing the stage with these other writers. Mine is sort of a little, maybe a little essay that I wrote for the occasion. Last spring, at a book event a few hours north, I was part of a lineup of Minnesota writers. I mentioned to the audience how excited I was by this designation. After all, I'd moved to Minneapolis in 2018, just 7 years prior at the time, and I'd been under the impression you had to reside in the state for more like 30 or 40 years to be considered Minnesotan. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, attended boarding school and 2 years of college on the East Coast, another 2 years of college on the West Coast, then lived in Boston, Iowa City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and St. Louis before arriving here. The irony, I told that outstate audience, was that when I visit my publisher in New York, I sense that they find me cutely Minnesotan. But when I am here, I don't think anyone finds me cutely Minnesotan. Spoiler, I sold very, very few books at that event. But also, what does being Minnesotan even mean? I hear myself use the term often, both mockingly and admiringly, and I assume that my own definition overlaps with and diverges from other people's. In New York, the things that I suspect would make me seem Minnesotan would be being, or at least pretending to be nice, thinking 30 degrees isn't cold, and wearing not especially stylish clothes. Of course, all of us know that while 30 degrees is so warm, it means you need to roll down your car window. Many Minnesotans are very fashionable. I also know from living in Cincinnati and St. Louis that the social dynamic often believed to be unique to the Twin Cities of people being welcoming but not inviting you to their house is common elsewhere in the Midwest. Whenever I've been warned that social circles here are hard to crack because people are still hanging out with their friends from high school, I think to myself, do you really imagine that my goal is to crack the social circle of your high school friends? And I'm now prepared to sell very few books tonight too. The inverse is that when I'm driving around and the radio plays When Doves Cry or Nothing Compares to You, I think, we did this. We made this. Except for the small fact of my not even living in Minnesota until 2 years after Prince's death, we were practically co-collaborators. Also, I started saying oofda ironically, but now I just say it. I'm sure that I'm one of many people in this room who attended an observer or upstander training in order to know how to respond to ICE agents harassing and abducting people in the Twin Cities. At the one I attended, part of the training included how to speak to the media, and the emphasis was on using the words families, communities, and neighbors. One example was, I am here because I believe in keeping our families and communities whole. And another was, deportations don't make us safer. They hurt our neighbors, our economy, and our future. Most of the time, most of us, even writers, use language casually. But at certain moments, it is the writer's role and responsibility to use it carefully. So this is what I want to say now. In point of fact, you are not Minnesotan because you've been invited to someone's cabin or because you yourself own a cabin. Having a go-to hot dish recipe, pronouncing certain vowels distinctly, attending hockey practice at 10 p.m. on a weeknight, even though you're middle-aged and tired, because that's when the rink is free. None of these are what make a person Minnesotan. If you live in Minnesota, you are Minnesotan. If you want to be Minnesotan, you are Minnesotan. All other definitions fail logically and semantically. All other definitions are at best sentimental and at worst xenophobic. I am here tonight because I believe in keeping our families and communities whole.